Have you ever felt like you were doing everything right only to keep falling behind while others, less honest, less careful, less kind, somehow keep winning? You try to be good, fair, and patient. You wait your turn. You show humility. But deep down, something isn't working. You're stuck and the world doesn't seem to reward your goodness. That confusion you feel, that ache in your chest when you watch someone ruthless climb higher than you, it's not weakness. It's a warning, a signal that the path you've been taught to follow was never built to lead you to power. It was built to keep you quiet, safe, controlled. Since childhood, you've been trained to protect a version of yourself that plays small, the obedient version, the agreeable one, the one who avoids conflict, avoids risk, avoids taking up space. You've been taught that if you're just good enough, patient enough, respectful enough, the universe will eventually reward you. But it hasn't, has it? That's because power doesn't answer to goodness, it answers to boldness. The world doesn't move for the polite. It moves for the strategic, the decisive, the relentless. And to become that version of yourself, the one who commands respect, who bends outcomes to their will, you must first do something terrifying. You must betray the person you've been. Not with cruelty, not with hatred, but with truth. You must betray the part of you that wants to be liked more than it wants to lead, the part that chooses comfort over growth, fear over ambition, routine over risk. You must stand face to face with your old self, the self who made excuses, who played it safe, who bowed to approval, and let it die. Because as long as that version stays alive inside you, power will always feel out of reach. Winning will always seem like something reserved for others. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about removing the layers of lies you've worn to fit in. It's about reclaiming the fire that's been smothered by years of polite silence and false humility. It's about waking up the version of you that doesn't ask for permission anymore. And when that part rises, everything changes. Your voice changes, your presence changes, your results change. That's the reward for watching until the end, for fully absorbing what you're about to hear. Because this isn't surface level motivation. This is the brutal, beautiful truth about transformation. If you've ever felt like the world was rigged against you, it's not. You've just been playing with rules that don't apply to power. And once you see that, once you accept that you must betray your old self to become someone new, you'll stop waiting to be chosen. You'll start choosing yourself. This is the beginning of everything, but only if you're willing to let go of who you've been to become who you were always meant to be. Stay with this, stay until the end. Your evolution is already beginning. Every time you hesitate to speak your truth, every time you shrink to make others comfortable, every time you say yes when your soul screams a no, you betray yourself. Not the version you want to leave behind, but the version you are trying to become. That tension you feel inside is not confusion. It's a war between who you are and who you were trained to be. And the battlefield isn't out there in the world. It's inside you. Every thought, every emotion, every impulse to stay small, that is your resistance. That is your enemy. It speaks in a soft voice, a voice that sounds like safety, like reason, like caution. But it is fear dressed as logic. And until you confront that voice, you will remain a prisoner to it. It tells you to play nice, to wait, to not make waves. But the truth is, that voice has kept you invisible. It's made you second guess your instincts. It's talked you out of the risks that could have changed your life. And worst of all, it has convinced you that your power is dangerous. That if you really spoke with authority, if you really showed your ambition, people would turn on you. That's a lie. A lie taught by those who feared your potential long before you did. You were never meant to play small. You were meant to lead, to influence, to build. But to do that, you must first destroy the part of you that fears your own greatness. Power does not come to those who ask for permission. It comes to those who decide to stop negotiating with their fears. Decide to stop apologizing for their fire. No. Decide to stop trying to be everything to everyone. You don't need to be understood. You need to be undeniable. And the first step is silence. Silence the noise. Silence the old programming. Silence the internal critic that tells you you're not ready, not enough, not worthy. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be powerful. And power begins with truth, the truth that the only thing standing between you and your next level is the part of you that's afraid to let go of the past. Let that part go. Let it die. Mourn it if you have to, but do not keep feeding it with your attention. It served its purpose. It protected you. But protection is not progress. What once kept you safe is now keeping you stuck, and if you want to rise, you must outgrow it. This is not self-betrayal. This is self-liberation. And it will feel like death because it is. The death of who you were. The death of the version that feared rejection more than regret. But when that version is gone, what's left is real. What's left is you. Unapologetic, unchained, unstoppable. This is the power you were born with. It's time to reclaim it. Not tomorrow. Now. You are not who you think you are. You are who you've been conditioned to be. Every label you wear, shy, humble, loyal, kind, was given to you, reinforced by others, and repeated until you believed it was truth. But identity is not truth, it's a story. A costume. And the longer you wear it, the more it hardens into a cage. You say things like, that's just who I am, but what you really mean is, this is who I was taught to be in order to survive. But you're not here to survive, you're here to win. And to win, you must betray the story. Because that story, that mask, was built to protect a version of you that no longer exists. If you cling to it, you will suffocate your future under the weight of your past. You don't have to be one thing. You don't have to fit into a clean category. You can be ruthless and kind, calculated and compassionate, sharp and still sincere. The world wants you to pick a lane so you can be predictable, so you can be controlled. But power doesn't come from predictability. It comes from adaptability, from being able to change your form without changing your mission. From being able to step into any room and command it, not by yelling, but by being unfathomable. When people can't read you, they can't stop you. That's the power of letting go of your mask, of becoming fluid, dynamic, strategic. You don't need to be consistent with your past. You need to be consistent with your vision. There will be people who try to guilt you back into your old identity. They'll say you've changed, that you've become too cold, too serious, too focused. Let them talk. They miss the version of you that made them feel comfortable in their own mediocrity. Let them miss it. That version of you was never real. It was never free. And if your growth offends them, they were never with you to begin with. Stop shrinking yourself to keep the peace. Price is not worth the price of your potential. You have the right to outgrow people, environments, and even the version of yourself you once swore loyalty to. That isn't betrayal. That is evolution. It's not your job to make others comfortable with your transformation. It's your job to honor the pull inside you that refuses to settle. The pull that tells you quietly but relentlessly that you were meant for more. Stop denying it. Stop covering it up with false modesty. Stop pretending you don't feel it. That pull is your true self clawing to be let out from under the mask. You will never feel fully alive while pretending to be someone you've outgrown. The cost is too high. The silence is too loud. The regret is too sharp. Let go of the mask. Not for others, for yourself. Because once you step into who you really are, nothing can stop you. Not even the past. You say you want to rise, but you still cling to comfort like it's your lifeline. You crave greatness, but you worship ease. You speak of change, yet your habits remain loyal to the past. That is the quiet lie most never escape. The belief that transformation can come without discomfort. That power will arrive without pain. That you can build an extraordinary life without first breaking everything that made you ordinary. Comfort is not your friend. It is your sedative. It numbs your potential while convincing you it's protection. And if you don't betray it, it will betray you. Comfort tells you to rest when you should be rising. It whispers, you've done enough before you've even started. It convinces you that you're safe when you're actually stuck. Every goal you've delayed, every boundary you've refused to set, every risk you've talked yourself out of. It all comes back to your addiction to comfort. You choose the known over the necessary, the easy over the essential. But nothing worth having comes without struggle. You will never create a powerful life while clinging to what feels good. You must be willing to suffer, not because suffering is noble, but because what you're trying to build requires it. You can't carry your old habits into a new life. You can't step into power while still worshiping peace. The life you dream of will cost you the life that keeps you numb. It will demand sacrifice, early mornings, late nights, discipline in the face of doubt, unshakable focus when everything around you tries to pull you back into mediocrity. And the reason most people never reach their potential isn't because they lack talent. It's because they refuse to pay the price. They want the reward without the risk. They want the throne without the war. But comfort will never lead you to power. It will only seduce you into settling. It will convince you that your dreams can wait. That timing is everything. That patience will eventually pay off. No, that is the myth. The truth is brutal. You either act or decay. You either evolve or dissolve. There is no neutral. There is no pause. You are either rising or you are rotting. And every moment spent indulging comfort is a moment you abandon your own future. You were not built for softness. You were built for battle, for pressure, for challenge, for fire. Because it's in the fire where you find your edge, where your excuses die, where your strength is forged. Wine. Stop avoiding the burn. Walk into it. Let it strip away the layers that no longer serve you. Let it reshape you into someone too focused to fail, too determined to retreat, too powerful to be ignored. You must betray the lie that comfort is your reward. It's not. It's your test. And until you pass it, you will always remain smaller than your potential. This is the moment. Choose the fire, let comfort die, and watch your real life begin. If your emotions control you, the world will too. Every time you overreact, every time you let anger, doubt, or fear decide your next move, you hand your power away. You can't build dominance on a foundation that trembles every time something offends you. You say you want control, but you still seek validation. You want influence, but you still crave approval. You want clarity, but you live by reaction. That internal chaos, that constant emotional noise, it weakens your decisions, it clouds your vision, it chains you to the very patterns you claim to want to escape. Power demands silence within. Not emptiness, but discipline. Not suppression, but control. You must learn to feel without obeying, to observe without reacting, to understand your emotions, not be ruled by them. Because when your mind is no longer a battlefield, your presence becomes a weapon. You stop chasing peace and start commanding it. You stop begging to be understood and start mastering yourself. This is not coldness. This is precision. Emotional detachment isn't about lacking feeling. It's about choosing what serves your purpose and discarding what doesn't. Every moment you spend trying to be liked, trying to be seen as nice, trying to make everyone comfortable, you dilute your power. People respect strength, not softness. Stability, not sensitivity. The world tests you constantly, looking for your weakness. And if your emotions sit on the surface, if they spill out without control, you become easy to manipulate. The ones who win are not the ones who feel the least. They are the ones who feel fully but respond strategically. Their power comes not from ignoring emotion, but from owning it, redirecting it. To Zion, using it. You've been told your emotions are your truth, but truth without structure becomes chaos. You've been told to speak your feelings, but not all feelings deserve your voice. Some deserve to die in silence, starved of energy. Because every time you feed the wrong emotion, you strengthen the wrong self, the self that sabotages, the self that hesitates, the self that bends when it should rise. Version of you that reacts to everything, that needs to be heard, needs to be defended, needs to be understood, that version must be betrayed. It will cry for attention. Let it. It will beg for comfort. Deny it. Because that version of you was never meant to lead. It was meant to survive. And survival is no longer your goal. Domination is. Freedom is. Mastery is. Let your emotions rise like storms and let them pass. Feel them fully, but act only from clarity. Speak only from vision. Move only from purpose. That is how power is built, quietly, internally, relentlessly. Not in the noise of reaction, but in the stillness of control. Because the one who controls themselves controls outcomes. And the moment you choose discipline over drama, strategy over sensitivity, detachment over desperation, you stop being a victim of life and become the architect of it. Stop hoping the world will be fair. Stop expecting others to play by rules they never agreed to. That mindset is why you stay stuck. You still think life owes you something because you're good, because you try, because you wait. But life doesn't care. Power doesn't care. And while you cling to hope, someone else moves with strategy. While you hold your breath for justice, someone else sharpens their mind. The world isn't cruel. It's indifferent. And if you want to win, you must become dangerous in your clarity, not pitiful in your expectations. The truth is brutal. You are prey until you decide otherwise. Not because the world hates you, but because it tests you. Every weakness is exploited. Every insecurity is noticed. If you walk into a room uncertain of your worth, you've already lost. If you move like you need permission, you'll never be taken seriously. People don't give power to those who wait. They give it to those who take it. And taking it means stepping into the role of the predator, not in cruelty, but in mindset, in discipline, in presence. You must stop hiding your hunger. Stop diluting your ambition. Stop apologizing for the fire that burns inside you. You weren't made to be soft. You weren't born to be agreeable. That was trained into you, conditioned into you by people who feared your strength before you even recognized it. But it's there. Buried under years of shrinking yourself, and now it's time to bring it forward, not for revenge, not to harm, but to rise, to show the world that the quiet one they overlooked has become unshakable, that the one they underestimated has become undeniable. Respect doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being unmovable, from setting the tone, from knowing exactly who you are and refusing to explain it. There is a version of you that walks into any room and doesn't flinch, that doesn't wait to be noticed, doesn't ask to be accepted. That version doesn't need validation. That version speaks and others adjust. That version doesn't fear opposition. It expects it and meets it with calm intensity. That's the predator within you, not a destroyer, but a designer, not impulsive, but intentional. Sharp, alert, focused, you must betray the version of you that fears power, that flinches at confrontation, that wants peace so badly it forfeits purpose. That version was necessary once to survive, but now survival is no longer enough. Now you must build, lead, dominate. The shift begins when you stop asking if you're allowed and start deciding you're ready. Your presence must speak louder than your words. Your silence must create tension. Your focus must demand respect, because the world doesn't hand out power, it recognizes it. And if you're tired of being ignored, overlooked, forgotten, then it's time to stop waiting to be chosen. It's time to become the one no one dares to overlook. Something shifts the moment you stop needing the world's permission to evolve. You feel it, not in your words, but in your silence. Not in your posture, but in your energy. You stop chasing recognition. You stop craving applause. You stop asking whether you're enough because you finally understand. You were never meant to ask. You were meant to declare. The world has no obligation to understand your transformation. It is yours alone. And if that evolution requires you to leave behind the habits, beliefs, and people that once made you feel safe, then so be it. Because safety is not the same as growth. Familiarity is not the same as alignment. And when you outgrow your old self, there is only one way forward: burial. Burial. The person you once were, the one who tolerated too much, waited too long, hesitated too often, that person is no longer compatible with the future you're building. Holding on is not loyalty, it is sabotage. You cannot carry your old self into your new life and expect peace. The conflict you feel inside isn't confusion, it's resistance. It's your higher self dragging you forward while your old self begs to be saved. But you can't save both. One must die for the other to live. And the longer you delay the funeral, the longer you delay your freedom. There is a cost to this evolution. You will lose comfort. You will lose approval. You may lose people who only loved the version of you that was easier to control. Let them go. Let it all burn. Because what rises from those ashes will not be a version of you. It will be the real you. Stripped of guilt, stripped of doubt, stripped of the need to explain why you changed. You don't owe explanations to anyone. Your existence is your statement. Your actions are your voice, and your presence is your proof. The path to power is not paved in acceptance, it is paved in sacrifice. You must be willing to be misunderstood, willing to be seen as cold, distant, unrelatable. That is the price of clarity. When you stop trying to be everything for everyone, you start becoming something to yourself. You begin to walk differently, think differently, breathe differently. You become intentional, tactical, focused, and people will notice. Some will be threatened. Some will be inspired. That's not your concern. Your concern is truth, not comfort, not consensus. Truth. And the truth is, you're not who you were. You're not here to stay small. You're not here to be liked. You're here to lead. So stop waiting for closure. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the world to catch up. You are not becoming someone new. You are finally becoming who you always were, beneath the guilt, beneath the conditioning, beneath the mask. And now that you see it, now that you feel it, there is no going back. There is only forward. Step into it. Own it. Burn the past. And never apologize for your rise. There comes a moment when the old you begs to be saved one last time. It happens right before the breakthrough, right before the rise. It will sound convincing. It will sound like reason, like humility, like wisdom. But make no mistake, it is fear. Fear pretending to be logic, fear pretending to be responsibility. It will try to pull you back into patterns you've already outgrown, into dynamics you've already broken free from, into excuses you've already stopped believing. That's when you must choose betrayal. Not of your values, not of your vision, but of your excuses, of your delays. Of the lies you told yourself to stay small. You say you want more. Prove it. Let go of the narrative that you're not ready. Let go of the belief that you need more time. That belief has cost you enough already. Time isn't what you lack. Commitment is. Relentlessness is. Audacity is. And if you want to change your life, you must betray the comfort of your own limitations. You must walk away from the stories that have protected your pride but suffocated your growth. The story that you're the victim, the story that you're unlucky, the story that if the world were different, you'd already be who you were meant to be. Burn it all. Those stories are anchors, not armor. They keep you rooted in a version of yourself that no longer exists. There is nothing noble in waiting. Nothing powerful about hesitation. You either act or decay. You either step up or stay stuck. This world doesn't reward the most deserving. It rewards the most determined. Those who show up when they don't feel ready. Those who speak when their voice shakes. Those who execute while others are still explaining. That's what separates the powerful from the passive. Not luck, not talent, but a willingness to betray everything that no longer serves who they are becoming. You will have to make decisions that feel brutal. You will have to disappoint people who only knew how to love your weakness. You will have to be misunderstood by those who depended on your silence. Let it happen. You're not here to be understood. You're here to evolve, to rise, to become undeniable. And if that rise feels lonely, it's because the path to power always is. But the loneliness is temporary. The alignment is permanent. When you walk in your truth, your circle may shrink, but your impact expands. Your clarity deepens, your conviction sharpens, and the world begins to adjust to you, not the other way around. This is your edge. This is your moment. Not tomorrow, not next year, right now. Betray the old you. Betray the hesitation. Betray the illusion that you are anything less than capable of complete transformation. The final lie is the one you've been telling yourself. And the moment you stop speaking it, your real voice will finally be heard. Not just by others, but by you. You've been searching for permission your whole life. Permission to speak. Permission to lead. Permission to rise. But the truth is, no one is coming to give it to you. No one is coming to validate your vision. No one is coming to crown you. And that silence you've been mistaking for rejection. It's not rejection. It's a test. A test to see if you'll move without applause. A test to see if you'll keep building even when no one believes. That's where power is born. Not in recognition, but in resolve. Not in praise, but in persistence. The moment you stop asking for permission is the moment you become unstoppable. There is a power in walking forward alone, a power in standing firm when everything inside you wants to retreat. You must learn to live in that space between who you were and who you are becoming. It's uncomfortable. It's brutal, but it's necessary. That's where transformation begins. When you realize that you're not here to be rescued, you're here to be reborn. And the cost of that rebirth is everything false you once clung to. The fake humility, the performance of innocence, the addiction to being seen as good. You have to let it all die. Because the real you is not gentle with your excuses. The real you doesn't negotiate with fear. The real you doesn't wait to be discovered. It forces the world to notice. You've been warned your whole life not to be too much, too confident, too intense, too ambitious. But what if your too much is exactly what the world needs? What if the reason you've been playing small isn't humility, it's fear dressed in manners? You don't owe anyone a watered-down version of yourself. You owe yourself the truth, the raw, unfiltered truth of who you are, what you want, and what you're willing to do to claim it. And if that truth makes others uncomfortable, let it. You are not here to be digestible. You are here to be undeniable. This is not about ego. This is about alignment. Alignment with the version of you that doesn't flinch under pressure. The version that speaks with clarity, walks with certainty, and acts with ruthless consistency. That version isn't in the future. That version is already inside you, buried under layers of doubt, guilt, and hesitation. And the only way to access it is betrayal. Betrayal of the patterns that keep you stagnant. Betrayal of the identity that keeps you tame. Betrayal of the false idea that playing small is somehow noble. The world does not need more silence. It needs your fire, your focus, your fearlessness. But first, you must choose it. Choose to stop waiting. Choose to stop explaining. Choose to stop holding back. And when you do, you'll realize the truth that was there all along. You were never waiting for permission. You were only waiting for the courage to give it to yourself. And now you have it. Use it.